आज इस वीडियो में हम खान यूनिवर्सिटी एग्जामिनेशन बोर्ड क्लास 9th में 2012 फिजिक्स पेपर 1 को सॉल्व करेंगे. सो लेट्स कम टू आवर फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ दिस ईयर. So here we have our first question, in which of the following sets of quantities are fundamental? We have to identify that which quantities are fundamental quantities. So, fundamental quantities are those that are base quantities. So, we have to identify the base quantities. So, in set 1, we have energy, length, mass, and weight. So, these two are fundamental, while other are drive quantities. In our set 2, current and mass are the base quantities. In set 3, current, mass, and time are the base quantities. And in set 4, we have length, mass, temperature, and time. We have all the four quantities that are base quantities. So the correct answer for this question is set 4. Then we have question number 2. Which of the following physical quantities is measured by using micrometer screw gauge? So this instrument is used to measure the thickness or the length of any object within 2.5 centimeters. 2.5 centimeters. So the correct answer is option D. Diameter can be termed as the length, so or the thickness. Time, weight, and current are measured by using stopwatch and spring balance and ammeter. Correct answer for this question is option D. Let's move to our next question, that are 3 and 4. Which of the following instrument is used to measure the internal diameter of a pipe? So for measurement of the internal diameter, we have the only one option, that is the vernier caliper. The upper jaws of vernier caliper or the inner jaws of the vernier calipers is used to measure the internal diameter of any hollow object. So the correct answer for this question is option C. If a body is falling freely, if a body is freely moving freely or the falling freely, the type of motion is a linear motion. So whenever we drop our body from a certain height, it always falls within a straight line. So the type of motion in that case is linear motion. So correct option we have is option A. Let's move to our question number 5. We have to find the average velocity from point A to point E from this given diagram. A body moves from point A to B with a velocity of 3 meter per second, to point C with 6 meter per second, to point D with 4 meter per second, and to point E 11 meters per second. So for the average velocity, 3 plus 6 plus 4 plus 11 divided by 4. So 3 plus 6 is 9, 9 plus 4 is 12, and 12 plus 4 is 24 divided by 4. So it will become 6 meters per second. So correct answer for this question would be option C. Let's come to our next question, that is 6 and 7. Inertia of a body depends on which of the following quantity? So we know that inertia is the property of the body that resists to change in its state. And this property, resistive property, is based on its mass. Greater the mass, greater will be the inertia, and it more difficult it would be to change the state of that body. So correct answer is option B. So then we have question number 7. If a body of mass 2 kilogram is moving with the acceleration of 5 meter per second square, and we have to find the net force acting on that body. So we have mass, we have acceleration, and we have to find the force. So the basic formula for the force from the second law of motion is F equals ma, where mass is 2 and acceleration is 5, so the force would become 10 newtons. So the correct answer is option B. Let's come to our next question, that are 8 and 9. Which of the following statements correctly describes about the mass of an object? So we have to actually identify the definition of mass. So, mass is actually the quantity of particles, quantity of matter, or quantity of substance contained in any object. So, the amount of substance the object contains. So, this is the correct definition of mass. So, the option D would be our right answer. Two forces are x at an angle of right angle at point A as shown. What will be the magnitude and the direction of the resultant force? So let's draw the magnitude, direction and magnitude in this vector diagram. We have two vectors. One is 9 Newton and the other is 12 Newton acting perpendicular to each other. We have a rectangle formed OPQR, so the resultant vector is the diagonal of this rectangle. So this is the R resultant vector, and we know that in this right angle the opposite sides are equal, so these will be opposite sides will be 9 and 12 as well. So to find the resultant, we know that this is 90 degrees, so we can apply the Pythagoras theorem. So OQ will be the resultant, that will be equals to square root of 12 square and 9 square. So we will get 144 plus 81, that is equals to 225. So the correct answer would be equals to 15 Newton. So the magnitude is 15 and the direction is OQ. So according to this, the correct option will be option A. Let's come to our next question, that is question number 10. It is better to use a long spanner rather than a shorter one to loosen or tighten a nut. So the reason behind is that if the longer the spanner, we would get the chance to increase the moment arm. Whenever the force is applied away from the axis of rotation, there will be a chance to get the greater or more turning effect. So in a long spanner, the moment arm could be large as compared to the spanner with the shorter length. So um, it required less force to be exerted to loosen or tighten a nut if our spanner is long. So option D is the right answer. Then we have question number 11. Which of the following shelves is most likely to fall forward if pulled a little? So, in a way, this question asked about the unstable shelf. So, unstable shelf will be the one in which the mass is distributed away from the ground. So, if the mass is away from the ground, then its center of gravity will also move upward. The greater the height of the center of gravity, the more unstable that body would be. So in the first diagram, as we can see, most of the book lies on the upper shelves. so that mass is in the upper side of that shelf. The center of gravity would lie above this center point. In the other three shelves, most of the books lie on the ground side, and the mass is near to the ground. That makes the center of gravity shifts towards the ground. So the first shelf has the more chance to fall down or to flip over if little force is applied on this shelf. So option A or shelf A is the right answer. This is unstable. Let's come to our question number 12 and 13. The weight of an object on the surface of moon is less than that of on the surface of the earth. The weight of that object on moon is always less than the weight on earth. The reason behind is that the gravitational acceleration on the earth is around 10 meter per second square, while the gravitational acceleration on the surface of moon is 1.6 meter per second square. Greater is the gravitational acceleration, larger will be the weight of that object. So the correct answer we would get is option C, that the weight of any object on the surface of moon will be less than its weight on earth. Then we have question number 13. We have the mass of earth, and we have the radius of the earth, and we have universal gravitational constant, and if we have to find the value of gravitational force acting on a 1 kilogram object. So this is mass 1, this is mass 2, this is the distance between these two bodies, and this is gravitational constant. So the force is equal to G m1 m2 over r square. The value of G is 6.67, 10 raised to the power minus 11, multiplied by m1 is 1, and multiplied by m2, that is 6 exponent 24, divided by r square, that is 6.4, 10 raised to the power 6 square. After solving this, we would get 9.8 Newton as the gravitational force. So the correct answer is option B. Then let's move to our next questions. The given diagram shows the path followed by a comet when it reaches close to the sun. The shape of this path is known as parabola. So the path is known as parabolic path. So option C is the right answer. Question number 15. Which of the following produced when a force is applied and work is done? Whenever a force is applied on any object, it displaces in the direction of force and work is said to be done. So, option B is the right answer. Displacement will occur when a force is applied and work is done on the body. Let's see question number 16 and 17. If a force of 2 Newton acts on a body through a distance of 3 meter in the direction of force, so we have to find the work done on that body. So we know that work done is equal to force times displacement. Force is 2 and the displacement is 3. So simply the work done will be equals to 6 joules. So option C is the right answer. So in 17, we have a rock of mass 20 kg that is moving with a speed of 6 meter per second. We have to find its kinetic energy. So we know that kinetic energy is equals to mv square over 2. Mass is 20. Velocity square will be 6 square divided by 2. 2 1 is 2 and 2 tens are 20. So 10 multiplied by 36 would become 360 joules. So option C is the right answer. Then we have question number 18 and 19. All of the following objects are moving with the same speed, and which of the following has the highest kinetic energy? So, as we have used the formula in the previous question, that kinetic energy equals mv square over 2. So if the velocities are same, so kinetic energy is directly proportional to mass of that body, and kinetic energy is directly proportional to square of the velocity. If velocities are same, so kinetic energy would depend on the mass of the body. Greater the mass, larger will be the kinetic energy of that body. So among these four options, we have a bus that has the greatest mass among these four. So bus moving with the same speed will have the largest kinetic energy. Option B is the right answer. In question number 19, on a frozen lake, ice will break if the pressure exerted on it will become greater than 1 newtons per centimeter square. So this is the maximum pressure that a layer of ice can bear. The pressure greater than this would break the ice. If four boys are standing on the ice, which of the following will fall through? Which of the following option will break the ice? So we have to find the pressure exerted by these. So it will be pressure will be equals to weight divided by area. So 200 divided by 270. So this answer would be less than 1 because numerator is smaller than the denominator. In option B, 300 divided by 250, 300 is the force and the area is 250. So this answer would be greater than 1. If you solve these, answer would be greater than 1. In next two option, 400 divided by 500 and 500 divided by 560. So in these options, the pressure is less than 1, while in option B has the pressure greater than 1. It means that the second buoy or the pressure in option B will have the greater chance, or the definitely it has a chance to fall through that ice. Next we have question 20. Which of the following is least likely to sink into the soft ground? Least likely means they have the less chance to fall into the soft, muddy ground. Empty lorry with six wheels. Empty lorry means it has less weight or less force, and six wheel means it has large area. We know that pressure is directly proportional to force and pressure is inversely proportional to area. So, least likely to sink means it should have less force and the greater area. So, we can cancel out these two options because these two lorries are loaded. It means they have the large weight. So empty lorry with four wheels and empty lorry with six wheels. So greater wheels will have greater area and less pressure. So option A would be the right answer. In question number 21, the average kinetic energy of the molecules of the substance is known as temperature. This is one of the definition, microscopic definition of the temperature. One we have studied is the degree of hotness or coolness. This is the qualitative definition of temperature, while the average kinetic energy is the quantitative definition of temperature. So option C is the right answer. Heat absorbed by a cold body is equal to heat released by a hot body. So, this law is known as the law of heat exchange. Whenever two bodies are in thermal contact with each other, there is always an energy that is transferred from a hot to cold part of that body. This energy is heat. So this law is known as law of heat exchange. Let's see question number 23 and 23. An experiment is carried out as shown in the diagram, in which we have a glass tube, we have a piece of ice at the base of the tube, we have a water and steam. So, in short, we have all three states that coexist in that test tube: the solid, liquid, and gas. The ice takes long time to melt even though the water at the top tube is boiling. So if we are heating the test tube at this central part, so the water boils as before the ice melts. So we have to identify the reason. Ice is a poor conductor of heat, water is a poor conductor of heat. Convection cannot occur in water. The gauge prevent the energy reaching the ice. So this is the source of heat. This heat is used by water to transfer through the base, that is ice, and water is heating up to boils from the surface. So gauge prevents the energy to reach the ice. This is the incorrect one. Convection cannot occur in water. This is incorrect because water is fluid and convection is a process that occurs in fluid. Water is a poor conductor of heat. So this is the right answer because water is a poor conductor of heat, and water will prevent the heat flowing to the base of the water. Convection is a process that occurs in water, and heat transfer by convection occurs only in the upward direction. So option B is the right answer. Let's see the last two questions in this here. Sometimes fans and pumps are used to speed up the natural convection. So to increase the convection or to increase the natural convection, we use fans and we use pumps to speed up the process of convection. And this type of convections are known as forced convection. Question number 25. All of the factors are one on which rate of energy transferred from one body to another body depends, except for the one. So the surface area depends is a factor that can alter the rate of energy transfer. Surface temperature and the color of the surface. So pressure on the surface is the factor that will not affect the process of heat transfer. So the last question number 25, the correct answer we have is option D.